Marisu, my wife, and Francesca, my daughter, prepares this apple cake, and this is really delicious. In fact, many people come to our parties just because they look forward to this apple cake. So now everybody's asking for the recipe, 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 recipe. So my wife, of course, lovingly gives out the recipe. I always hear the complaint and simply say something, it doesn't work. I tried it several times. The recipe doesn't work. Even, in fact, my brother-in-law was telling me, okay, maybe you missed out purposely some of the parts of the recipe so that we will fail. And my wife would laugh. But one day, one thing happened. So I was always looking forward for this cake. I always make sure that I have a share in the house of the cake because I love the cake. So my wife was baking her cake, and parts of it got burned. So I got curious because she was saying now this is a bad thing to do. And then the following day she tried again. It was perfect. It was really good cake. So I asked her the question, so what did you do differently? And she said, you know what? When the cake is almost done, I open up the door, ajar the oven, and it seemed to allow the hot air to get out of it so that it allows the cake to do it by themselves. Voila! I learned something, which means that no matter how much perfect solution you have, no matter how much recipe that you follow, you need to be able to test them in your own conditions. Why? Because just like baking cake, the temperature changes, your equipment is different, maybe your attitude's different, the pressure time is different, and this equipment could not work very well. So it is in this trial and error that my wife did with this apple cake that one discovers how to do it best. We seem not to get away from that problem. We need to do that. So whenever we develop lessons on learning, be aware that unless you tell learners that there are exceptions and they need to try it this way, all of the theory, all of the procedures, all of the list of ingredients will not work.